So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the 8 things you should be doing to take care of your Tormek. The first thing you should be doing is regularly refreshing the surface of your grindstone. If you've got the SG250 grindstone or the SJ250 Japanese stone, then using the stone grader, coarse side for the SG250 grindstone, the fine side for the SJ250 Japanese stone. Just push this down onto the surface for about 20 to 30 seconds. A little bonus tip is to knock off the corners of the stone just so you don't chip them. The next thing that you should be doing regularly is truing this stone. For that, we use the truing tool. This is a way to make sure that you're sharpening on a flat surface. Simply attach this to the universal support, tighten it up so it's not going anywhere, and then you want to lower this down until it's just about touching the stone.
Lower it until the cutter touches the highest spot on the stone.
There we are. Tighten ourselves up, and we're going to slowly make a pass. There we go. Try and do this regularly so you're only removing a little bit each time. It's a lot easier to do it that way rather than trying to do one big truing session. When your Tormek is off and you've got the grinding stone on there and it's just going to be sitting there, lower the tray until the stone's no longer in the water. This way, when you restart the Tormek, the stone isn't unbalanced where the bottom part has soaked up water but the top part has dried out. Just a nice way to keep everything running true. The fourth tip, and I'm kind of bad at this one, is to make sure that you empty and clean out the tray after each use. So not only are you getting rid of the material that's come off the stone, but also the metal shavings that have come off your tool. They should all collect next to the magnet on the scraper tool. You can easily scrape out whatever detritus is in the tray. Nice and clean. And the fifth tip, especially important if, like me, you're using this in a wood shop, which can get pretty dusty, is to put a cover over your machine. Doesn't matter so much if the machine itself gets a bit dusty, but really we want to keep the drive wheel free of dust, otherwise the motor can start slipping. If you're bearing down on the grinding wheel but it's not moving, then let's move on to maintenance tip number 6. So if you're pushing down on the grinding wheel and it stops turning, then the motor shaft is slipping against the rubber wheel. So what we need to do is remove the honing wheel, and then we will refresh the rubber surface and then maybe degrease the motor shaft. So if it's slipping, then with the Tormek running, a little bit of sandpaper, push down on it, start light and then add a little bit more pressure. The other thing that you might need to do is to degrease the motor shaft in case any grease has gotten onto that. And so one of the things that Tormek recommends to use, and this is news to me, is that petrol or gasoline is a degreaser. So a little bit of that applied to the motor shaft will remove any grease and stop slippage. Only do this if your grinding wheel is slipping when you're putting pressure on it. And then for number 7, we have a maintenance tip that you might only need to do once, if at all. When you've used your honing wheel for a while, you might notice that there's a bit of a bump. So when Tormek add the leather wheel to it, there's this seam here that they glue down. If you're feeling a bump, it's because the rest of the leather has compressed a little bit, but the glue under that seam hasn't compressed yet. So you can just sand that down a little bit. Again, that might be something you only need to do once, or maybe it's not a problem for you. But if you are honing and you feel that bump, it's that glued down joint that needs sanding. And then number 8, you should be doing this once a year at least. I have been a very naughty Tormek owner. I've never done this before. You should re-grease the bearings and the shaft that go between the two wheels. Tormek recommends any sort of ball bearing grease, so I'm going to be using Super Lube, but dealer's choice. Simply remove your grindstone, big old washer, and then you can pull it all out And then we've got 2 nylon bearings that need greasing, and then our main shaft here. Any sort of ball bearing grease will work. So there we go. Those were 8 ways to take care of your Tormek. If there are any Tormek maintenance tips of your own that you'd like to share with the community, also let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, please consider giving us a like. It will really help us out. And if you want to get a Tormek T8, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can find that at sharpeningsupplies.com. Oop, am I turned on? Yeah. Tom here at Sharpening Supplies, and I'm going to be recommend. Oh, hello, Patul. So you can. Oh, that was an awful sound. Ah, don't grab it by the bit you've just greased up. Get your fingers all mucky. If you're pushing down on just burn this place to the ground.